Tell me more.
Well, I think one of the funny things we just had Mark Bay, who was here this past Thursday and Friday on the 29th and March 1st. And you know, Mark is phenomenal at what he does. He's from Chicago, and a highly in high demand as a coach. Worked with the Bryan brothers an extensive amount of time, and most recently was the assistant coach for the Davis Cup team in Lithuania just 5-6 weeks or so ago. And we all hear these different perspectives, and one of the things that is remaining so consistent is commitment to the game, and that Mark discussed. And I thought that was great, not just because he said it this past Thursday or Friday, but because we all know it as teaching pros. Are you gonna start as a parent? Are you gonna align with the philosophy of a coach? And I think that even before we can help these juniors get good, even before we can have fun working with the players, I learned a very valuable lesson through player and parent transition about 15 years ago. And I think it's the number one challenge parents have is to position themselves with the coach that they're comfortable with and that's also comfortable with their kids. So on the other side of that, as teaching pros, we have to learn how not just pick the players because they're really good, because that still might not be a great fit.
Yes.
But we have to really always make sure that we are picking the family and picking the parents as well. All those things need to align in order for it to be a positive working environment for the player, the parents, and the coach. So I think that's the first thing off court. And then from there, you can kind of build around the methodology of how you like to see players develop. What's the ratio of practice to private or programs to private? What's the ratio of fitness that's executed? What are the critical periods of training, right? We always want to have the periodization method where we go into these 8 to 10 week training blocks. And so really making sure all those things align, and quite frankly, also making sure that we're realistic about, the goals that we're setting for kids. When I coach, most recently having Sating and managing his tournament schedule in 2022 before I got here, he had entered the boys 14s, and I forget what his ranking was exactly, but it was I believe it was just inside the top 35 of Northern California. And the goal for his second year is to cut that ranking in half. Right? Is to cut that ranking in half. So that's always my metric for kids entering a division. And then their second year should be cutting the ranking in half or better.